It's no accident that sounds like you're leveling up in a video game. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds have an online dating profile.
Make them work for it.
45% of people say they're more frustrated with this form of dating than hopeful.
There are so many people you can connect with.
Should I swipe right?
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong. Setting the record straight on dating apps. Everyday people telling everyday stories of the swipe right world with your host, Koss.
Well, I know he had a good time.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. You know, it's just kind of how we say every week. Whenever you want to listen to the show, we're going to be there, ready to be listened to, whatever it is. Whether you wake up, whether you're commuting to work, whether you want to lay down and go to sleep to the soft sounds of chaos, you're welcome to it. Welcome to the number one podcast amongst people who don't even know baseball season is going on right now, which is most people. So, all right. I'm your host. I'm Koss. This is the Swipe Wrong podcast, and welcome. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. And each week we have something, a little different story, maybe a different specialist on, different something or other. But right now, let's keep the house, shall we? Like, follow, subscribe. Make sure you let everybody know that this show is out there. Thank you for the ones that do. 317-426-6616. That is the number to call in, text in. Let us know if you have a story. We're getting quite a few stories lately, which is great. I tell everybody the same thing all the time. Your story is your story, but somebody will be able to relate to it. Somebody will pick up on it. Email us at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. Find us on our YouTube page. That seems like where people are checking us out the most. They want to see what's going on. They want to see the conversation. So we're there. But of course, we're on every podcast platform out there. And of course, props to the Wizard of Oz himself, Jay, who puts this together. Thank you so much. Does an amazing job at everything that he does. So this week was fun. She is in an entirely different country. So you get to kind of start out in the States and then dates in the States and overseas, and you get a little taste of both of them. And just the different in the cultures, the difference in how things are kind of, I don't know, how you kind of manage things. She's awesome. She was wonderful to talk to, super, super cool. And had some pretty amazing stories to go along with it. So, you know how it goes. I'll keep it simple this week. Sit back, relax, put your feet up, grab your popcorn, get it buttered, throw some caramel on there if you want to. If you're in traffic, please be safe and don't hit that person next to you. And hopefully you guys enjoy this week's episode. Quarter for your thoughts.
Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions or any entities they represent. This podcast is about dating experiences. It is not to say one dating app is better or worse than another.
So you've been single roughly for how long?
Woo, forever.
Forever. Me and Santa, we've been doing it for the same amount of time.
Yeah, forever. It's definitely probably been, I'd say a good 4 or 5 years that I've been single. Yeah.
Do those feel like dog years? I mean, if it's 4 or 5 years, it's like, man, it feels like it might be like 15, 20 years, really.
No, I don't look at it because I like my space. So I don't look at it that way. I mean, even when I think about, some people think about when they're in a relationship or dating or like, oh, time is passing me by and I need to do this. And I'm like, I like my space.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I totally get that. I do. So you went from US to a whole different country and single on both areas. So I know you and I talked about it, but where in the US were you and where are you now? I feel like it's where's Waldo? We're rolling with that.
So I was born and raised in New Jersey.
Okay.
Prior to relocating, I lived in Georgia for 6 years. about 50 minutes outside of Atlanta. And currently I live in Morocco.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, is it every day a paradise? Like are you just like the long walks of the beach with the sunrises or sunsets and you're just going, oh, this is great? Or is it like, man, I gotta adjust to the style of living?
It's an adjustment to the style of living. Because the beach is probably 2.5 hours away from
Oh, is
me.
it really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there is a beach. There's the first one is probably 2.5 hours away from me, and I don't get to see it that often, which is what I miss. I like being near water. I like going to the Caribbean. So it has been an adjustment. Like for example, the modesty of the way that some of the women dress. It's been scaled back a little bit since the first time I was here because it was very, very modest. But now, it's a little bit more flowy, but the locals very traditional when it
Really?
comes to the attire. Like what I am wearing for the most part would be considered inappropriate.
Really? Okay, so are we
Mhm.
talking Little House on the Prairie style living, like dressing out there? Like, is that you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
they have on caftans. You can definitely tell who's a local versus who is a tourist here, by the attire.
Okay.
They're not wearing low cut shirts. They're not wearing shorts that's showing half of their tail or
Uh,
midriff shirts. They're not doing any of that really.
okay. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, just a whole different world, both literally and figuratively. All right,
Yeah.
so now dating life in the States, dating life there. Different, the same. Uh,
Um,
Help me.
it's unique in its
Unique.
own
That's a very
way.
PC way to put it.
It's unique in its own way. Oddly enough, I think I've had more dates here than I've had when I was living in Georgia for six
Really?
years.
Really?
Interesting enough. Yeah. Dating, let me not put everyone in one category.
That's fair.
The people I dated in the States were less attentive than the individuals that I've dated here.
Oh, interesting.
Now, unsure what the if it was upbringing, the way they do things here, but I'm also here. I haven't really gone out with a Moroccan, so it's been someone who's also an expat from another country, but not
Okay.
the United States. Not the United States.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. That's interesting. And an expat, like I needed I know I'd heard the term, but I hadn't totally had my coffee settle in yet. So expatriate and wherever that is from, expatriate from the States, expatriate from
Yeah. So
France, expatriate
the
from wherever.
individuals that I've dated have either been from France or the Netherlands or Spain.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So yeah.
Are you like, is there as much intrigue for you as a person as there is for you as a being from the States, you think?
Intrigued in what way?
Like, just curious about your story as much as anything, what it was like. Like, just want to know maybe a little bit about what it was like, or to live in the States, or it's. I don't know. My naivety is saying like people are curious about what life is like in the United States, I guess.
Dating in the United States it comes with challenges, I
Oh,
think.
for sure. Oh, for sure. I guess I
And
mean,
yeah.
where you're at now, are people curious about what your life was like in the United States to find out, the different style of living?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
What's
All right.
interesting, and it was funny because I was in a taxi last night, and the driver, of course, he spoke Arabic. He didn't speak English, good English, and he's using the translator. And he's like, "Oh, I trying entering the lottery to come to the States because Moroccans have to have a visa to come to the States."
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, I love America." He's like, "I want to go to America." And I was like, he says, "There I can find you find good job." And I'm like, "You can go live in my house in Mariah in the States and I can stay here." I was like, I think it's the ideology of what they see on TV or
Oh,
what they
sure.
think they hear.
Sure.
And, then of course they get there and they find that it is very challenging. Like to have a rent that's $1,700,
Right.
where like the average here, depending on which area you live in, could be anywhere from $400 to $800 or $1,000 on the high end scale. In the States, we wish we could have something like
What's
that.
our utility bills?
Right. Dude,
Right.
let me tell you, I got my utility bill the other day, and I'm like, I'm looking at the utility bill, and I'm like, this is interesting. Like, I'm opening up the paper. My electric bill is $53 for the month. My water bill is $4 for the month.
Oh
And
my
I'm looking
God.
like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, why is it our bills so expensive in the States? Like, this is absolutely crazy.
I feel like the difference is commas and decimal points. Like I feel like over here we're dealing with commas in the States, and over there you're dealing with decimal points. Sign me up for
Yeah.
decimal points.
So it's amazing because they just have this vision of being in America. They think, we're the richest country in the world,
Sure.
and that they could have access to so much more. And I think they're walking around with blinders on, which is interesting. But
Sure.
it's just like coming here. It's nice to be able to make U.S. money in order to live in this country. So
Sure. Sure. That would make perfect sense to me. Like, and I guess in my thought, I hear where you're at. In my perception is you got to be by a beach and you're 2.5 hours away and you're like got to be in paradise, but it's not my perception is a little bit different. Their TV shows that they're watching, I hope it's not the Kardashians. I hope it's more like Sanford and Son or something. I just hope depending on the shows.
I don't even know if there's so much more. Like, they're out. Let me give you an example. I was here during the earthquake. We had an earthquake here.
Oh wow, that's right. I forgot.
And everybody was out in the streets, of course, because they're afraid the building's going to fall down and they're inside of it. However, I see now, even after the earthquake, how in the evenings, especially when it starts to get hot here, everybody communes in like these park areas. And they're all out. It's family style. Everybody is enjoying the time with family. I
Interesting.
don't envision that they are. I mean, I don't go into too many people's homes, but I don't
Right.
envision that they're home watching TV, standing in front of the TV like like we do.
Yeah.
Even with the kids, even hearing the kids outside playing, ours is inside playing video games.
Yeah.
In the States, I don't see that here, and they go to school 6 days a week here.
Do they really? That's
Yes,
interesting.
they go to school on Saturdays as well.
Is that a full day too? Like, let's just say, I don't know, 8 to 3 or something, like, or every
I'm
day?
uncertain of the time frame,
Okay.
but it is definitely
Interesting.
6 days a week. Yep.
Wow. That's I don't know why that blows my mind. That almost sounds as logical as anything. You don't understand what weekends are like until maybe you're in the workforce, but
Right.
that's pretty cool. Wow. So many
But
cool
even
things.
working, it's 6 days a week.
Is it 6 days a week working too?
It's depending on where you're working, but for the majority, it is 6 days a week,
I've never heard
and you
that
get
before.
Sunday off.
Wow.
Yeah,
For religion, I imagine.
yeah. Sunday's a
So
day of rest.
So the church part of it all has got to be a little bit interesting too. I imagine there's got to be a lot of religion out
Around every corner, there is a mosque.
there.
There's one on the backside of my apartment building, and that call to prayer goes off 5-6 times a day.
Okay. Okay.
And because I live in an Islamic country, and the call to prayer starts. I think the first one is at 5:04 a.m.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
every
I
few
think
hours they do that.
I think sorry, phone was going. I think at that point, like the 5:04 a.m., that's just like that's like the alarm that I don't want to hear go off no matter what day of the week it is.
I know.
So how about your dates out there? Are they, I mean, I guess just like I'd ask anybody else, are there some good stories, some bad stories, or anywhere, even back in Georgia, how's the dating scene been for you?
Let's go back to the one in Georgia. Georgia
Okay.
was interesting. It was interesting. Of course, I met people through dating apps, and just starting out the conversation, I'm a visual person. I'm swiping left if there's nothing that physically attracts me to someone. But there was at a time where there were like 3 people in my little roster of who I was communicating with.
Okay.
And I'm someone where I need to have conversations with you before I decide that I'm going to pull the trigger and give you my phone number and pull the trigger and go out with you.
More than fair.
Except recently. Okay. I'm working between a little time gap here. But I met someone and I thought that there was a connection as we were talking on the online and on the phone. But you never know someone until you really are sitting in front of them and you get to see their mannerisms, you get to feel their energy. Yeah. And for me, all of that is intentional for me. Like I need to be able to know that there is a connection there.
Totally.
And so I had made plans to go out with someone, and he had selected a restaurant. Now, I am a selective eater, also known as being picky. And
that's fair.
There's a lot of food that I just do not eat. And so he had chosen a restaurant, and I was like, have you been here before? And he's like, no, I've never been there. I says, why would you go to a restaurant you've never been to if you don't know how the food is going to be? Right. So I said, well, let me select the restaurant. Let me go somewhere that I know I'm going to eat the food. So I select the restaurant, I get it, the day comes, and I'm at the restaurant, and he's like calling me, like, where are you? I was like, I'm in the lobby. He's like, I'm in the lobby. He was at the wrong restaurant. Oh. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm sorry. I'll be there in like 20 minutes. I'm like, in Georgia, nothing is 20 minutes. It's like 25 minutes.
That's true. That's true.
Eventually he comes, and, we're at our table, and it just got interesting by the moment.
Oh no.
So we're talking, and I asked him, I was like, what have you found? How have you found dating on the dating app? What do what is intriguing you about it? Have you had any great dates, bad dates, whatever dates? And every time there was a question, he would go down a rabbit hole and just start talking. Wow. And I'm just sitting there. I could not get a word in edgewise.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. So then I asked another question, and he did the exact same thing again. And I go, let me just be clear. I have no filter. I'm like, so do you always go on a tangent when someone asks you a question? His response was, I used to be worse.
Really? Really? I mean, there's some self-awareness there, but not entirely, right? Oh my gosh.
He said, I used to be worse. I was like, oh, so there's a worse? I was like, wow, this is going to be interesting.
Oh.
So, because I'm like, you never answered the question. Like, how? He's like, oh, I've met some bad people online and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So the waitress comes, and he asked her about something, because we went to a Korean barbecue place.
Oh, nice.
And he asked her about one of the items on the menu, and he ended up, so when they brought the item out, and he goes, what's that? And she goes, that's the thing that you ordered. He was like, I didn't order it. I didn't want it. And so I go, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're not going to sit here and debate. I'll take it home, because I know it's something that my son eats, because I've been there before.
Cool.
So it's cool. I'll take it home like that. Hold on to that. Put a pin in that. I'll take it home. So we're talking, and then they bring out our meal, and we're eating, and he excuses himself. He's like, oh, I left something in the car. Now I'm thinking, oh, maybe he bought me some flowers.
Right,
or something.
That's my thought. Right, yeah, some nice little gift.
No.
No.
So he comes back, and where we're sitting, there's like a walkway, and then tables, and then there's another walkway, and there's pillars that you have to walk past. He comes in. I see him come in. I see him stop at the front desk, and then I see him walk. And I see him pass the first pillar. I see the entrance, and then he walks some more. And I lost him. I don't know where he must have stood there for a few minutes. And I'm sitting there like, what's taking him so long to get back to the table? So he comes back to the table eventually. He's sitting there, And we're both done eating, and I'm asking some more questions. And all of a sudden, I see him start stacking quarters behind his plate.
What the hell?
So I'm thinking, because I have a son with extra needs, I'm thinking that he has some kind of thing where he needs to play with coins.
Okay.
Which is, I'm okay with that. That's not my kind of date.
Yeah, that or laundry.
So, so I'm like, what's the deal with the coins? And he goes, oh, there was a time where I had to take care of my mom and we were struggling financially. So I would always save coins. And so I just always had them. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
So, okay. So then the check comes. He takes the check, he looks at the check, and he looks at that item that I said I take home, and he goes, oh, I'm not paying for that. She is. Dude, it was like $10. And I go, yes, can we put that on a separate bill? I'll take that. Don't worry about it. So I'm like, you lost points with me. Not that I have the expectation, because I am not the kind of person where, oh, I got this. My son, you talked about it, but I decided I'm going to take it because I'm going to give it to my son, that you should pay for it. It was just the way that he went about it.
Totally. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. Hold, and like I could see him saying, I don't have enough quarters. I could see that just being the process in his mind. Yeah. Like that could be handled so much better.
Yeah. And so I was like, don't worry, I'm going to pay for it, because my parents told me never leave home without your own money. Never.
Right, for sure.
And I'm a grown ass woman, so what the heck?
Right.
So
for sure.
So, I look at how much it is. I give my card to pay for that portion of it. And he, I forgot what she did. She gave us 2 separate bills. So I gave her my card for mine. He starts putting the coins in the billfold.
You knew that was coming, didn't you? You just knew that was coming.
He put some bills in there, but I'm looking and I'm thinking, interesting. And the waitress is looking at it like,
yeah,
what the hell is all these coins? And I'm not talking about 4 quarters. I'm talking, it must have been like 12 quarters. It was a lot. It was a lot of coins.
Oh my God.
And so what was even more interesting is he was waiting to see how much I was going to leave as a tip.
No.
I am not lying. I am not embellishing. This is exactly what happened. And I was like, ooh, this is not going to work. So I'm highly sensitive, and energy is my thing. And I was like, I am so drained from this emotional date.
Not bad.
So, we figure out the bill, we pay the bill, whatever, and we go to leave, because I had a fake phone call.
By a fake phone call, did you have a friend calling you to get you out, or you just totally oh, look, there's a call and it's not even ringing?
No, I need to get home because I have to be on a conference call. At 9:30, because it's on West Coast time.
Okay, I gotcha. Oh my gosh.
So he walks me to my car and he goes, I hope we get to go out again. I go, ooh, I don't know right now. I'm just really overwhelmed and I just really need to get home to get on this conference call and we'll talk like that. So the next day, I messaged him allegedly when I got home, but I didn't get home. I had to go to a friend's place who has a bar and have a drink. And when I walked in, they were like, what's wrong with you? I said, I just had the most interesting date and I just need alcohol right now.
Oh my gosh. Look, I've heard a lot of interest. That is so unique. I mean, here I'm counting out the quarters because we used to collect them. And wait, no, actually, I'm just going to pay with my quarters. Every 12-year-old kid wanted those quarters for video games at the arcade. The waitress wanted nothing to do with them. Oh my God.
I couldn't believe he gave her. I mean, yes, it's money, but you gave her the tip and all these coins.
I can't believe he watched you. So when he watched you on the tip, it was to gauge how much you were tipping on how much he should tip, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the next day he calls me. No, he sends me a text message. He's like, I really had a lovely time. And no, it was a phone call because yeah, it was a call. This is, I really enjoyed myself. I hope you did too. I said, it was interesting. I have no filter. It was interesting. And I says, he's like, I really would like to go out with you again. I says, I don't think I'm a good fit for you.
That's solid. That's still solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said,
It's not mean.
I didn't say
It's
I
not
don't think
anything.
you're a good fit to me. I'm going to take ownership. I don't think I'm a good fit
I love
for
that.
you.
Yeah, I think that.
And he understood it. He respected it. He's like, I respect that. I appreciate you being honest with me. I was like, that's the only way I can be.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, is there anything in particular? I was like, yeah, you took me down the rabbit hole too many times.
Did he ask what that meant? Did he want more of an explanation?
Yeah, he's yes and no. He was like, oh, okay. When he said that, I was like, it was just like the conversation felt lopsided to me.
Sure.
And whenever we were asking questions, we talked a little bit. You allowed me to speak a little bit, but it was like you overshadowed. There wasn't this even exchange. And I said that doesn't work for me. And so, and he understands that I do retreats and everything. And he was like, I would love for you to help me do a man's retreat. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. I'm just going to be honest.
We don't take quarters for payment, buddy. That's not going to happen. That's not how we settle our bill for this. No. Oh my gosh. That would, like, how many times during that night where you're like, oh my God, like there had to be a good dozen times.
It was a lot because on the phones, I would notice that he would excessively talk, and he's a very analytical person. I recognize that. I forgot what industry he worked in. Okay. And it was just, it was too much for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not even going to try to act like, well, maybe I'll go on one more date to see if something was off. No, I'm not even going to go there. No, if it's off, it's off. I don't have to keep trying.
Good. When you know, you know. I mean, like,
when you know, you know.
Truth. Yeah, like, and you probably knew. All right, so I mean, they say within 3 minutes in, 5 minutes in, we'll say on the liberal side, you kind of know if there's an attraction. It sounded like 2 minutes in, you kind of knew, like, not only was there no attraction, it's like, I need to find a way to get home.
Yeah. Oh, I always have an escape route.
There's always a meeting.
There's always an escape route. That's how I live my life. Even when I go places, I'm like, yeah, I know how long I'm staying here. There's always an escape route.
Yeah, for sure. God, that sounded that. And as a guy who does this show, I'd love to hear that story. As a guy talking to somebody who I've really enjoyed talking to, kind of a friend, feel bad. Sorry you had to endure that. I really hope the food was good and your son enjoyed the meal. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Oh man.
So then there was date number two. Date number two didn't happen because date number one drained me. So I had to cancel. I had a weekend lineup. So date number two was breakfast the next day.
So the one date ruined the weekend.
I was like, I am not okay. I cannot go out with you. We'll have to reschedule. And we ended up never rescheduling. So then date number three, I think I lied. I have 4 dates lined up. So date number three, I'm weighing the options. I'm single.
As you should. Yes. Date 1 out of 4. Hopefully you get one good date out of 4. But oh shoot. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna shut up and listen.
That's why I keep saying I'm a wife. I'm a mother of one and a wife of none.
I like that.
So date number 3 was an alpha male, and he felt the need to flex his muscles.
Oh wow!
And my friends, they all had strong hopes for him.
Oh God!
And it was like, okay, because I'm highly sensitive. For those people who don't know, I'm an empath. An empath is someone who feels the energy of other people. And
Okay.
sometimes you can be a highly sensitive person. So you don't like to be in places where there are crowds or a lot of, like, let's say sports places where there's a lot of ruckus going on.
Okay.
You try to be in more quieter places.
Okay.
So this person, they had said, oh, let's go out. I'm going, I know this place that would be great for us to go to. Now, my greedy butt was focusing on the food because I'm like, oh, I haven't had great seafood since I've been in Georgia. So they had recommended a great seafood place to go.
Okay.
And it just happened to be a sports bar.
Oh, shit.
And so I always let my friends know a location wherever I'm going somewhere. And so I had sent it to them, and she was like, Tina, I don't think you want to go there. And I was like, why? She's like, one or two reasons. One, the area it is in, it starts out being great and then it gets unsavory.
Oh, wow.
And it's a sports bar. You won't survive in there. And it just happened to be, I think it was leading into Super Bowl weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we had made the plan, I think, on Tuesday. And once she gave me the information, I had reached out to him. I think it was Friday night. We were going out Saturday.
Okay.
And I said, hey, can we go to another restaurant? Because I don't think that going to this particular place is conducive to my well-being. That's exactly how I put it.
Makes
Can we
sense.
go to this particular restaurant? I gave him the name and everything. And he didn't call me back. The next morning, probably around 10 o'clock, he sends me a message and he goes, who are you to change the restaurant we're going to?
Wow.
I'm looking at my phone like,
Wow.
oh, okay.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I go, I didn't change the restaurant. I asked you, would it be okay if we went to this restaurant, which was even more interesting because the restaurant was closer to where he lived, the area that he lived in. So I didn't think it would be a big issue.
Sure. Why would it?
And I'm like, because he's like, I told my friend, I said, he's making a big stink about it of why did I change the restaurant? And I was like, I understand that it's a sports bar, and I didn't realize that when I agreed to it. And I'm very sensitive. This is something I share with everybody. And he was like, oh no, I think there's another reason why you don't want to go there. And he just could not hear me. And so I was telling my friend, I says, I think there's somebody there that he wants to see me. And she goes, no. He's just in his ego. I was like, no, there's somebody there. He wants to see me. So he calls me we're talking on the phone, and he goes, he says, I don't understand why you don't want to go there. I said, because it's a sports bar and it's going to be loud. He was like, if you had asked me, I would have told you. My friend owns the place.
You were right.
My friend owns the place. It's not going to be loud. I was like, it's Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
I may not know who's in the Super Bowl, but I know how rowdy people get.
Sure.
So he gets all upset, and he was like, oh, well, I'm all the way on the other side of town, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, I don't know what type of punk men you're used to dating, but I am an alpha male.
Oh my God.
Again, I'm staring at my phone of, you are about to get your feelings hurt.
What a great response.
So I go, I'm happy you're an alpha male. Thank you for making me aware of that. Most alpha men don't need to tell you that they are alpha men.
Oh, what?
Their energy exudes it. And I've made the conclusion, I don't think I want to go on this date right now.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, so you're not going? And I go, no, I'm not going with you. I'm still going. I'm still going to the restaurant. I'm just not going with you because I am not sitting across from the table from somebody who's going to sit there and be angry because I changed the restaurant. It wasn't at last minute. I gave it 24 hours. I left you a message. And he was like, I don't understand why you don't want to go now because you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So he's making a big deal. And then finally he goes, okay, Tina, I'll meet you there. What time? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to be there. If you show up, great. If you don't show up, great. I'm going to be there. He's like, I'm coming. I'll be there by XYZ time. Okay. I'm putting on my makeup. I get in the car. I'm on the phone with my friends from Jersey. Like, girl, let me tell you what happened.
No doubt.
And because I needed to make sure that I was not incorrect. Because if I was going to, say, my apologies for blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But I'm like, I gave you 24 hours. I didn't change it like an hour before we were scheduled to go.
Right.
And so I drive to the restaurant. I'm on the phone with my friends. So I get off the phone and there's a message. I don't think we should meet. Now, mind you, I had to drive 45 minutes and it was raining. You allowed a woman to drive, even though I was still going.
Sure.
You made it like you were coming.
Sure.
And you allowed me, you wanted me to get far enough away from my home so you can prove a point. But you didn't prove a point for me because I still had a great dinner and it was delicious.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think we should meet either. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. What a geez.
Yeah, he was a Nick.
Yeah. I mean, like, seriously, like, I guess in my head, I'm seeing, like, he's so adamant on not letting you dictate terms in his mind. That's all
he
it
did
seems
not
like
want
it comes back to. It was, you're not going to tell me I'm not going to go on this date. I'm going to go on this date. And then when you're kind of like, whatever, fine, whatever. And then it's like, well, she said I could go. Now I'm going to tell her I'm not going to go. Yeah. I mean, like.
Because he's probably used to women being like, oh, okay, never mind. I was like, no, this doesn't sit well with me. So I'm going to fix this. I'm going to make it easier on both of us. You don't want to be there. I don't want to be in front of a person who's angry. I'm going to go by myself and dinner's going to be great.
And dinner was awesome, right? That's what you said, right?
Dinner was awesome.
Yeah.
Dinner was awesome.
What kind of place was it?
It was a Caribbean restaurant.
Oh, see? Stop. I'm gonna have breakfast of champions over here when I'm done. Jeez, that sounds so good. But like, it's so crazy. Like, the ego is so debilitating, and it's such a liar. Like, ego to me is the biggest liar on the planet. I mean, I believe you have to have self-confidence, but that is just pure ego. Like, his could not be fragile at all. Good Lord.
And I had to check in with some of my male friends, and I'm like, I need to tell you a story. Let me know if I was wrong. Because I do sometimes know that I have a strong personality at occasions because I want what I want, but I make people aware of it. It's not something that's a surprise to people. Okay. My friends who know me. Like, one of my friends, male friends, we've been friends since forever, like 32 years. He knows that I struggle with foods that I enjoy eating. Okay. And so he'll be like, so Tina, we're going to meet up. You decide where we're going to go. Because I want to make sure you eat. That has nothing to do with an alpha male or not. Nope. That's someone who's being considerate of another person. And he couldn't see that. There was no way. His only response was, I don't know what type of punks you're used to dating. No, I don't know what kind of women you think that you can control, but you met one that was not going to allow you to control them. That was what the issue was.
100%. Like, literally, we're talking about a first date. We're talking about almost like I'm showing you like my best impression of who I am, and this happens. Like, well, like the whole point of the date. Like, I have a friend who owns the bar. I get he may have wanted to show you off, but how about get to know you first?
He wanted to show me off and probably get something for free.
Well, they say
from his friend.
They do say the best nation is donation, but I mean, still though, like maybe he would have. Maybe he probably canceled because he might have had to pay with quarters too. I'm not sure. He needed the free meal because of the quarters were set up. Just pure ego, like. I can't tell you, like, that would never cross my mind that if somebody canceled on me or changed plans, it's like, oh, cool. All right. We're still hanging out. That sounds good to me. As long as we're still hanging out, we could go, take a walk down in a park or something. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
That's the point. The point is the connection, not the
Connection.
and not the ego.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Tell me, have you had good dates? Any good? Well, no, that's date 3. What happened in date 4? I'm sorry. This is a 4-day weekend.
Day 4 reminded me of my father.
Oh my God. We're getting the whole gambit, you know? We're getting the guy with the coin laundry. We're getting what?
I'm sitting in the car, talked to him for a while on the phone, and finally decided we're going to meet. And first of all, I was like, okay, we're going to Red Lobster. Go to Red Lobster. I'm like, wow, okay. Whew, that was a lot. But I'm sitting in my car waiting, and I always back in. And I see this gentleman walking by, so I don't think he couldn't see me. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, he has on the same shirt my dad has. I'm like, my dad has that shirt. I'm like, it's a plaid shirt. I was just like, my dad has that shirt.
A plaid shirt.
I couldn't get past the shirt that I just couldn't. There was like, I'm 56, but I don't look 56.
Not at all.
I forgot how old he was, but I'm like, I can't see myself with an older looking man.
Sure.
It's just not me.
Sure.
And I was like, and then the conversation was too many silent points in the middle.
Oh, that's
and I'm
tough.
like, yeah, I don't think this is a good fit either.
That's
but we just
tough.
fell off. I think we just ghosted each other. And I'm not good at ghosting, but I think we both just ghosted each other and realized it wasn't a good fit.
That's fair.
And that was my dating life in Georgia. 6 years, 4 dates, and nothing.
Oh my God. All over a course of a weekend too. I mean, goodness. Jeez. I mean, like that.
Let's
Those
get it
are
out
some
the
of
way.
the worst.
Let's get it out the way.
Oh yeah, right. I guess that's true. Like the ego from the quarters. I mean, I guess the one, you were a little bit too, who knows if you got out. Maybe you saved yourself by not going out on the breakfast.
Yeah, I think I saved myself from that.
Yeah. Good Lord. And then, but it has to feel like, just from the vibe I'm getting from our conversation, now that you are where you are, like you're the alpha male type of dude, like maybe they're there, but they're at least still more interested in you. Is that a little bit more accurate?
And what's so interesting, what would be accurate is I don't see the alpha male as much with the men that I have dated while I've been here in Morocco.
Okay.
I won't say that they are soft. I just think there's this different aura about them. Accommodating, wanting you to be like whatever you want. If that makes you happy, because I'm in a soft life era right now.
Okay, that's
and
cool.
I'm like, I don't want my masculine energy to show. I want to be feminine, and I'm enjoying dating. I'm enjoying meeting people, and I'm enjoying connection, whether it's short term or midterm. I don't know about long term yet.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying meeting people, and I've met some lovely people. I met this one gentleman, and literally we had our first night. We had dinner, and then he was like, "Hey, would you like to go on a walking tour with me and do blah 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 blah?" And I'm like, "Well, sure, we can do that. I'm only walking, but so much though." And but we met up and we walked and we went out to lunch and just talked and laughed, and it felt good to laugh. And we parted ways, and he left. And there was nothing physical about it. It was definitely making a connection with someone and enjoying the time together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's how it kind of should be. Right?
Yeah. Because for me personally, everybody knows what they're looking for. I'm at a space right now, it could possibly change. I just enjoy dating. I don't want to be in a committed relationship because I like my space. I enjoy my space.
Sure.
Can it happen? Possibly. The right person come along? Maybe.
Sure.
However, I'm very intentional and clear about it. I enjoy dating. I'm not trying to marry you. And I'm like, don't fall in love. I'm like, don't fall in love. You might be, I don't know. Because I don't know where I want to live at the end of the day.
Yeah, sure. For sure.
And so meeting someone is like, okay, is this going to, it definitely will take a special person who is a traveler and who wants to do things and who's open to this person may not be here all the time.
That's fair. That's fair. That's the interesting part of that too. It's got to be an independent person who has their own life and who
Hmm.
can't say like like you are now just an extension, just as that
Hmm.
person, not like the fulfillment piece, because
Right.
that's when like when you want to travel and if you travel without that person, that's where all that stuff gets into a little bit of trouble.
Hmm.
Sounds like night and day from the dating,
It
like
really does. And it feels like night and day, to be perfectly honest.
does it?
It
Like,
really does. It doesn't feel, I'm going to speak it in a more positive way. It feels energized versus strained.
oh, that's cool. I dig that. I dig
Yeah,
that a
it
lot.
feels energized versus strained. Have I had some that, I just knew there wasn't a good fit in the beginning? Yes. But even as we were connecting with one another, because usually I'll meet you first for it's either going to be a glass of wine or it's going to be afternoon tea. We're in Morocco, we have tea. They have
Okay.
coffee.
Okay.
And it was not tense. It was just meeting one another at an open restaurant where we're in a space where it's not all everybody's lovey dovey. We're in an
Right.
open space with a whole bunch of other people, and we'll know like, oh no, this doesn't fit me. This is not what I'm looking for,
Right.
and we part ways, and everybody's still happy.
Man, funny. No real feelings hurt. It's like, okay, we're good.
No,
We're like, I don't know, crazy thing, like we're adults and we can
correct.
have discourse and still not
Mm-hmm.
be mad and just kind of move forward in
Right.
whatever direction that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Very much
Gosh.
so. It's
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting.
It sounds so much more positive,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
like you are, and I'm sure the other person, it sounds like people who are looking out for each other to see if they have a connection, and if they don't, then hey, you know what? We had a good meal, probably
Yeah.
some good conversation, move forward, wherever we're
Yeah.
moving. That's
Definitely.
cool. That's really cool. I I love that you know what you want and you know what you don't want. I think so many
Hmm.
people know what they don't want, but don't entirely know what they do want. So
Yeah.
you're in a healthy spot, it seems like.
I try to be. I mean, I wasn't always here. Um, for me now, my well-being takes precedence over everything.
Good.
And I need to make sure that I'm in a good space. I need to make sure that I'm making myself happy. I don't have the expectation of a partner to make me happy. They just enhance the happiness I have. And I am someone who I practice peace. I am
Nice.
not someone who's going to walk into a relationship and feel like everything is an argument or everything is a disagreement. I can't operate in that space.
Good.
And I like my space.
Good. Good. Good.
I like my space.
Did it take you and did it take you a minute, or was it always kind of innate for you to just know, all right, these are my boundaries and this is what I'm going to protect?
I will say that it took me a minute because I was someone who gives. I give a lot in a relationship, and a lot of times I don't expect too much from people. I'm a very easy read if you truly get to know me. Um, and when it comes to, it's unfortunate that I do this, but I compare people to a previous relationship that I had that no longer exists. And they opened my eyes to a lot of things because we had great conversations.
Mm.
And so now going forward, my family would always say he messed it up for everybody.
Uh,
Like he messed it up for anybody who comes along.
uh,
And because it was just the way that he treated me and the way that he encouraged me. And so now when I date, that's sort of the litmus test. Do I compare other people to him in that way? No, because each person is individual. But I do have certain expectations of how I need the attention when with certain things. However, at the same time, I'm going to give you the attention as well. I am not someone who's going to be constantly beating you against the wall like,
sure.
why didn't you do this and da 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 da. I'm not
Sure.
that person. I don't have time, energy, nor patience.
Fair enough.
But what I pour into you, I want to be poured back into me.
That's fair. That's absolutely the right ask. I think, in my opinion, effort should be, matched. I mean, effort
Mm-hmm.
has to be matched, because if it's not, then that's when you're going to run into too many questions and insecurities and issues, and all that just doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. You might run into an alpha male or a guy with quarters, and you're gonna be like, okay, this gotta go. This gotta go.
Instantaneously.
Yeah.
Instantaneously.
So you get on Insta Live sometimes. Where can people find you? If you want to throw out the socials, by all means.
So I do life coaching for individuals, and I do help some people with their relationships. I don't really do marriages because, listen, I've never been married. Go to somebody who's been married.
Fair.
You can find me on social media. On Instagram, it is Tina C. Hines 50. And on Facebook, it's Tina C. Hines, Life Transformation Specialist. And I'm also on TikTok as Tina C. Hines.
If I can just say, like, just in the two conversations we've had, your energy is amazing. Like, you have just a great way about you, and your boundaries. You're like just the whole everything. I mean, people are going to get quite a bit if they work with you. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversations. That's for sure.
Likewise.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you for being along for the ride on the Swipe Wrong podcast. The show is produced by Jay Pelham. You want to reach out to us? We want to hear your story. 317-426-6616. Make sure to text, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you. Shoot us an email at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, YouTube. We are definitely out there. I am the host of the show. My name is Koss. And please make sure to take a listen to us next week, because the saga, it continues.